This is another piece that I take along with me when I'm going on different trips for demonstrations and what have you, but especially with a group called the Slave Dwelling Project, where we actually go on plantations and we spend the night in slave cabins. But I like taking this piece and just to get people's reactions from it sometimes. As an artist blacksmith, I like to do things that capture people's attention. And when people see the snakes that I do, you know, they're always asking questions about, why do you make so many snakes? You know, and I think it's funny. It's like, okay, got them. And I tell them the stories about good snakes and bad snakes. But I'll ask this question first: are you afraid of snakes? And I'll get that answer: yes, I'm terrified of snakes. And snakes are evil. You know, snakes represent your enemy. If you have dreams of snakes, that's your enemy. So watch out, be careful. And but it's mostly just negatives about snakes. Well, I think there's some good snakes out there too, you know. And I try to explain to people. I say, listen, do you know the story about how God used a snake to show His power? And he said, well, no, snakes are evil. That's the serpent in the garden. That's the Garden of Eden. I said, you get that story from the Bible? He said, yeah. I said, well, let me tell you about some other stories in the Bible about how God used His power, or used a snake to show His power. And they would question me on that. I said, well, just listen to this. I said, take this staff. What does it look like to you? Some people will give me their ideas, but then I'll explain it. I said, okay, do you see the snake here? And what does this look like? Doesn't look like a rod, doesn't look like a branch or what have you. What story in the Bible can you tell me where a rod turned into a snake, a staff turned into a snake? And a lot of them can't answer that. And I said, remember the story about Aaron and Moses? How Aaron and Moses laid down his rod in front of the Pharaoh? I said, remember that story? And you go, oh yeah. Remember how the Pharaoh's magician snake just miraculously come out of this rod? Well, they thought it as being a trick. So Aaron and Moses laid down their rods, and the power of God changed it into a snake. And what did their snake do? They swallowed the snakes that the magicians laid down, Pharaoh's snakes, and they swallowed it up. So the power of God, wow, He used a snake to show His power. So how evil are snakes? I'll ask that question and say, well, there are good snakes and there are bad snakes.
Right.
Yeah. And if God used it, guess what? Must be a good snake.